Thank you, Chair. Well, I may expect you to return the favor in the spirit of give and take. Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning, Advocate Madonsela or Professor. Would you prefer to be called Professor or Advocate?
Whatever is easy for you, Advocate Mpofu. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, ma'am. No, that's fine. So please don't mind if we shift from the prof to the advocate. The Advocate Mukabane rolls easier on the tongue because that's how we referred to you for a long time. But so it will be no disrespect if we use that title. Okay. Now, maybe, Chair, we should do it like this. I think, in fairness, I'll take much shorter time just to put context to how we're going to approach this. Now, Professor, I don't think that there's going to be much quibbling between you and me regarding the scope of what we're going to cover. And I'll explain to you just now why I don't think so. So there's a lot of time and energy that has been spent even this morning about scoping and whether these questions are legitimate or relevant and so on. And we all accept here that according to the directives, the chairperson is the final arbiter of relevance. You understand that?
I do understand, but good. You are paid for every word you utter. I am losing time for every word I utter. So as professionals, we also have to be self-regulating about what we ask and what we discuss without waiting for the chairperson to tell us.
No, anyway, you're wrong, madam. I'm not paid for every word I utter, but I forgive you for that because you wouldn't know, but that's fine. I was simply saying that in terms of the directives of this particular committee, the final arbiter, for better or for worse, is the chairperson of relevance. I'm just informing you.
It must be for better.
Probably for better, yeah. But not always. I'm informing you. All I was asking is whether you understand that. I'm not debating the point with you. It's in the directives.
Yes, but if I think you're asking me an irrelevant question, I will say so, sir.
Okay, so let's wait until that happens. For now, I'm just asking you if you understand.
I fully do, sir. Thank you.
You do. Thank you. That's better. Okay. Now, my understanding, therefore, is that subject to issues of the validity or otherwise of your affidavits or whatever version thereof. But the reason why I'm saying I don't think there's going to be much quibbling between you and me is that my understanding is that your statement is really anchored by 3 paragraphs. Where you say that your statement, paragraph 4, sorry, that will be, it will be bundle H, Madonsela folder, the final affidavit or the third affidavit, 31.6. Yes, paragraph 4. There you say that the statement sets out a summary of what you intend to share with the committee. And that's the summary that you've just given now. So in other words, what you've put in the statement is just a summary, not the full version, correct?
It was a summary, but
Yes.
sir, I have now been given an opportunity to present what I could, and I have done so.
Good. So that's the first anchor paragraph, paragraph 4. And then you then refer to the chairperson's letter, wherein you were invited to, among other things, or rather you were told that you deal with issues which are relevant to the motion. I think on that we all agree, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, but the most important paragraph, I think, is paragraph 10, which is your last paragraph, which you just articulated now, where you say that in my considered view, the above is all that is relevant in the light of the Section 194 inquiry and the contents of the letter, the chairperson of the committee. So everything above paragraph 10 is what you call all that is relevant, in your view at least. As I said, we might differ on what's relevant and not relevant, but at the very least, your version is that whatever is on from paragraph 1 to 9 is all that is relevant, correct?
As a summary, yes, sir.
Yes, good. Now then, that's perfect, because in my view then, unless if there's any difference between you and me, which I will indicate to the chair towards the end, I am happy to proceed on the basis that we start with what you and I agree is all that is relevant. And if at the end, there's still 1 or 2 issues on which we quibble, then obviously we'll refer that to the chair to determine. I think that's a fair way of proceeding also, so that you and I will be on the same page. So we will, for the first part, then be governed by your statement, correct? Are you happy with that?
Very happy. Thank you,
Good.
sir.
Perfect, perfect. All right. Now that we've got that clear, I said it was subject to determining whether there's even a statement before this committee or an affidavit or not. We are at this stage confused as to whether there's an affidavit. As I understand, you are reading now from the 3rd version of your statement, correct?
As far as I know, there's only one version of my statement. And again, Advocate Mpofu, I did say that you paid for every word you utter. There's only one version of my statement. And that version was sent on the 25th with a very tight deadline because of the quibbling between the lawyers of Advocate Mkhwebane and myself about what exactly should I cover. Finally, on Saturday, I was given the deadline of the 24th, and I requested that it be moved. I think it was the 22nd. I requested that it be moved to the 25th, which was a Saturday. And against several odds, including load shedding, I sent the statement, and only to discover that there were small typos on the statement, and those typos were corrected, and a corrected statement was sent. Nothing in the statement changed, except maybe you could say the most substantial change in the statement was saying Advocate Paul Hoffman is advocate and SC. Everything else was just spelling corrections. But if you want to make an issue out of that, and we use taxpayers' money to quibble about that, be my guest, sir.
Okay, no, I will be a guest. Madam, especially if there's a possibility of criminal conduct. I think the taxpayer will be very interested in that. But okay, let's just take it step by step. Am I correct that in your letter of 20th of February, you invited the public protector's team to indicate what you called truly relevant matters before you prepare your statement that where she still needed answers from you? That's what you invited the team to do, correct?
Yes, I did.
Right. And in response to that invitation, the public protector's attorney then wrote a letter to you on the following day, the 21st of February. Firstly, indicating to you that you had made a mistake in indicating that there was only one issue, but that there were two. The issue about the spelling is a non-issue, really. The substance was that you had indicated that you were only going to be testifying on the CX matter. And we indicated to you that even on the version of the chairperson, which we didn't agree with, you were supposed to do two matters.
So you harbored that issue on the first, and I guess you were paid for that time. I dealt with it earlier. I don't know what else must we do with it.
I think
But also, can I
just answer the question, ma'am? I think it will assist us if you just answer the question.
Can I just finish also? But
yeah.
My answer is yes. There was quibbling about, no, you don't cut me like that, say. There was quibbling about that, you, but in my earlier statement, please don't talk over me. In my earlier statement, I had also indicated that you compacted the quibbling to those two matters. Yet the real confusion was around whose inquiry is this? And all of those vague statements where you say, oh, courts have made these remarks about your cases. What is your comment on that? So I wanted to know, number one, am I being investigated now? And two, which cases? Must I go all over the internet to find out what have courts said about my cases? And three, I specifically mentioned to you that as far as I know, no court has accused me of not understanding the Constitution or being dishonest. Those were in those letters, say, we can't reduce it to how I spelled CS and the matter of the two cases.
Okay, ma'am, can I ask you to please firstly listen to the question and then just answer the question that is asked of you. Then we will get somewhere, because on your theory, I don't only get paid by words I utter, but even the words I listen to. So let's not make them too many. I'm asking you a very simple question, that in response to your invitation for us to indicate which other areas other than CX that we needed answers to. Number one, we indicated to you that the other issue is Friede, because that's common cause that was from the chair. That's what we did at paragraph 6 of our response, correct?
Yes.
Thanks. That's now we're getting somewhere. And then the other issue where we corrected you was to say that it is false to state, as you stated in your statement, that the public protector's team had, quote, forbidden the evidence leaders from assisting you with a statement. And we said, please indicate to us who advised you of that non-existence fact. That was the second issue that we raised in that response, correct?
Yes.
And as it happened, the Secretariat, I think, without our knowledge, had also sent you a letter indicating that that allegation was incorrect, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank
That
you.
was my mistake, which I admitted.
Yes, and which you apologized for, which apology was accepted. So
And which you dealt with last week and you're dealing with again today.
yes. To what, did you give evidence last week?
Well, it's on the record.
All right. Okay. Anyway, so at least we settled the fact that it was at your invitation that we indicated those areas. Good. Now let's come back to this issue of the statements. You were aware that
I'm sorry, sir. With your permission.
Yes.
You see, giving answers out of context.
With the chair's permission.
With your permission, Chairperson,
Yeah.
can I just clarify that Advocate Mkhwebane, let's not mislead the committee by narrowing. If you're going to quote that letter, put the whole letter on record. Because yes, it was at my invitation, but in response to your previous letter, where I was saying I am confused about all of these matters that you've raised. And this is what the chair says I should do, and you are saying I must do something else. And you ended up actually providing new issues instead of clarifying my question. So it's important that we give those who are going to judge this matter context and not be selective about the evidence we put on record. You must bear in mind that I'm representing myself here. And therefore, when I feel that there's a need to put all facts on the record, I will say so with the permission of the chairperson.
Right. Okay. Now, you are also aware that there was, shall we say, confusion as to whether you were called as a witness by the committee or by the public protector. Were you aware of that?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was very clear from the beginning that only the public protector wanted me as a witness, because the committee had discussed with me earlier the possibility of me being a witness, and that was abandoned because my response, as I said in my earlier statement, was there's nothing I can say that can change what the courts have said on the matters that you want me to be a witness on.
All right. Okay, fine. Okay, maybe then the confusion was not on your part, but I suppose you're saying you are still clear when you received a letter from the chairperson dated 9 February 2023, where it says the committee has offered assistance to all witnesses who have requested it, but such assistance is limited to the drafting of a statement under the auspices of the evidence leaders as settled and sworn by yourself. The committee will certainly not be in a position to provide you with any assistance beyond this, and so on. And also further down, the chairperson, should you require the assistance of the evidence leaders to prepare a statement, kindly contact the committee secretary. Even with that, you still regarded yourself as a witness just for the public protector. Am I right?
Absolutely. My understanding was that I've been called by the public protector, but I'm a witness owned by no one. Read my letters. In all of the letters, I say, I do not understand myself to be owned by any particular group. Well, I'm paraphrasing myself here. I teach on investigations. I wrote the investigations manual of the public protector. I also teach on commissions of inquiry. So my understanding is that witnesses are really there to help find the truth wherever it is. They're not supposed to be embedded with any party. And this was what I said in my letter to Advocate Mkhwebane's lawyers.
Yes.
I didn't consider myself owned by anyone, sir.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I've already said that the confusion must have been on our part only, but I'm just explaining to you where it came from. Well, for your information, in this particular inquiry, when the evidence leaders call a person, they prepared a statement for that person, even when they subpoenaed the person, in this case, Mr. Kekana, then they prepare a statement for that person and lead that person. And the same with us, when we have called a person, as we did with Ms. Mviana, we prepare a statement with her and lead that person. But
Sir,
that's
may
fine.
I say a word? No, sorry, sir. May I, with the chairperson's permission, read the first letter from the attorneys, the one that I missed for a long time. It didn't say it was compulsory that I should be assisted by the attorneys. It said that if I so wish to be assisted, I can be assisted.
Yes.
So what you're
So,
saying, you seemingly saying something different from what the letters said. Even the last letter said, if I so wish, the assistance may be provided. And I chose not to be provided with that assistance. And I insisted that I want to do this independently.
no, that's also not entirely correct. You said that you preferred to do the statement with the evidence leaders, didn't you?
Well, for the first time, the first letter, it was with the evidence leaders because they had already offered and we were going to do it on the 20th. But my last letter indicated that I prefer to do it independently. No, my last two letters actually said
No, that's fine. So in other words, yes, fine. So you do the evidence leaders or independently. So the only people that you were not prepared to do a statement with was the public protector's team.
Certainly.
Good.
Precisely because of the kind of questions that had been asked, it didn't seem to me that I am a witness to assist with providing evidence that could assist your client to explain herself to Parliament. The questions that I was sent in the very first letter were accusing me of certain things. And how are you going to have your statement prepared by somebody who already appears like they're trying to throw you under the bus? Why would you do that?
All right. So just a minute. So these are the issues that we had wanted you to assist us with.
Yes.
Firstly, it was the two witnesses who had accused you of ill treatment, and we wanted to give you an opportunity either to explain that away or to put it in its context and so on. Do you think that's putting you under the bus?
Absolutely. This is not an inquiry into my conduct. To write to me about two witnesses, at that stage, I didn't even know who were they. Your letter just simply said something about Mr. Mkhwebane, sorry, Mr. Siyabi. I didn't even know at that stage who that person is because, sir, I have not been a public protector for almost 6 years.
Okay, all right.
So
and,
to say to me, I should randomly answer to those questions. In fact, can you read onto the record all of the questions that you asked me to answer in the first
Yes.
letter, and all of the questions that you asked me to answer in the second one?
Yes. No, I'm not going to read the first one because that was overtaken by events. But the second ones, which we responded to you at your invitation, we started with the two issues that I've just mentioned now. Your alleged role in the ill treatment of Mr. Nyatela by the Office of the Public Protector. The second one was the alleged role in the ill treatment of Mr. Siabi by the Office of Public Protector. We've already covered that. The third one was relevant human resource issues and policies regarding security clearance issue. And you regarded that as well as putting you under the bus.
Certainly, sir. You say
Okay.
you were asking me to respond to allegations against me. This inquiry
No.
is about
Okay.
allegations against Ms. Mkhwebane, not against
No,
me.
ma'am.
Yes. Just hold on,
Please, yeah.
Honorable Maute. Please conclude, Advocate Madonsela, and then I'll go to come back to Advocate Mpofu.
Yes, firstly, at that stage, I didn't know who Mr. Siabi was.
No, I'm
And-
not there.
and-
I'm talking about 7.3 now, ma'am. Relevant human resource issues and policies. You've already answered the Siabi Nyatela issue. I'm saying relevant human resource issues and policies regarding the security clearance issue. Did you regard that as putting you under the bus or not?
I regarded that as irrelevant. Let's use the language that I used in my letters. I would say, what is the allegation, against who, and what's the relevance to this inquiry? Please on the record say exactly what I said to you.
Okay, thank you. Just pause, Advocate Mpofu. Honorable Maute.
Yeah, no, thank you, Chair. I didn't want to interrupt as well. My apologies, but I need to raise this with you, Chair. I tried to call Tembinkosi as well. He's not picking up. I guess it's because he's operating there. The president of the EFF, Honorable Julius Malema, has been trying to log on since 10 o'clock. He's being parked somewhere on the passage. Can he be allowed to enter the meeting, please?
Thank you, Honorable Maute. IT, please attend to that matter. If there's a member in the waiting room, do we have a member in the waiting room? Okay, they say there's nobody yet, but I'll ask them to watch that space to attend to that. Thank you for that, Honorable Maute. Over to you, Advocate Mpofu.
Thank you. Madam, let's go back to what I said. If you please listen to the question and then answer that question, it will get us very far. These are your words. You said that the things that were asked were putting you under the bus. So I'm simply using your words. I'm saying whether asking you to assist the committee in relation to relevant human resource issues and policies regarding the security clearance issue, if you regarded that as putting you under the bus, yes or no?
No, I didn't regard it as putting me under the bus, and neither did I say that in my response to your lawyers, to which I still don't have a response back.
All right.
Thank you. Just
Then-
a pause.
Sorry, Chair.
Honorable Maute, I guess that's an old hand. Please remove it so that I can see when it is a new hand.
Yeah, it must have been an old hand, Chair, but still, Honorable Malema is still on the waiting list there. Can they please allow him in?
No.
He's got the correct
They-
link. Mpofu says we must give him the correct link. He's got the correct
No,
link.
thanks. They are looking for him. Maybe the issue will be the correct link because in the waiting room, he's not there. So forward him the correct link that you used to enter as well, because that will be the correct one. But in the waiting room, he's not there yet. He's on his way, but there's a problem of a link, I'm sure. Advocate Mpofu.
Thank you. Okay, good. So that one is not putting you under the bus. Then the next one was administrative obstacles such as budgetary constraint. You regard that as, I'm sure you don't regard that as putting you under the bus.
The response I put there was, what's the relevance?
Yes, just answer the question, ma'am. I'm sure you don't regard the issue of administrative obstacles such as budgetary constraints as putting you under the bus.
Mr. Advocate Mpofu, I use the under the bus quip as an add-on. Are we going to latch on to a footnote? Surely you didn't come to this event prepared to latch on to a footnote. Can we deal with what we came for?
Can you please answer the question, Advocate Madonsela? Or do you want me to ask it for the third time?
Well, okay, I don't know, because the questions were vague. I had no idea whether the intention was to put me under the bus or not.
Oh, I see. So now you didn't know whether it was the intention. I thought you said that was the intention. Okay, that's fine. And then the next one
Well,
was
on the record,
governance.
it would say differently.
All right. And then the next one we said we'd ask you on governance issues and audit outcomes. Do you regard that as putting you under the bus?
I regard it as irrelevant.
But not putting you under the bus.
I'm not sure, depending on
Not
what
sure.
was intended with it. Anything that was vague was potentially trying to, but not putting me under the bus, trying to.
I see. And then the
Yes.
next one was the management of backlogs and other performance challenges. Under the bus?
I don't know.
Don't know. The next one was scathing remarks made by the courts in respect of some of the reports issued during your term. Under the bus?
Irrelevant, sir.
Okay, but not under the bus. Then the next one was the impact of especially the EFF versus Speaker, the Nkandla judgment on the frequency of court challenges and the spend on legal fees, as well as clarity on the question of which version of the Executive Ethics Code you applied in respect of the Nkandla investigation and others. Under the bus?
Irrelevant. I am going to, when you're done, I am going to ask for permission to read the letter to this committee.
All right,
So that
no,
we
that's
can
fine.
stop playing games.
No, the letter is before the committee. I'm just.
Yes, but I would like to read it for everyone who's listening so that the auditory.
ma'am. You are here to
perception
answer
is
questions,
useful.
please. I'm saying I've just read you the 8 issues which we gave to you at your invitation, and none of them seem to be putting you under the bus, or you don't know whether they put you under the bus. That's fine. That's let's leave it at that, and let's go to the statements now. The affidavits, or so-called, okay, let me put it this way. And this is the context I wanted to put to the chair before. The reason, madam, that we offered to assist you with a statement, as we do with all witnesses, and as evidence leaders do with other witnesses, is because we are, as you know, trained to do this. We do it almost day in, day out. And quite frankly, whether you were going to do it with the evidence leaders or us, wouldn't make much difference, except that it would simply conform with the requirements of the law and the requirements of this committee. So let me just make it clear.
Do you want a response to that?
No. Okay, let me context. Yes, you'll have your response, but let me contextualize what I'm saying. Your first issue was that the reason why you rejected our assistance was because there were things that put you under the bus, which turned out not to put you under the bus. I'm now telling you the reason for offering your assistance was not to put you under the bus, but simply for you to be assisted as somebody who might not be conversant with the practice of law and how these affidavits should or should not be done. That's all. That's really why we assist all witnesses. And
Can I have a response to
I'll
that,
show you
sir?
just now that you actually needed the assistance. Yes, yes, you
Okay.
may.
Can I just firstly clarify the under the past? I
Yes.
said the questions that were putting me as an accused person were trying to put me under the bus. I have not suggested that everything that was in those questions was trying to put me under the bus. I said in my opening statement here, with you listening, that my objection to those questions was they were vague and their relevance was questionable. So let's just put the record straight. And secondly, regarding the affidavit was the very first affidavit was looked into by a commissioner of oath who is a qualified attorney, just like you. And in any event, being a qualified person who does all of those things every day does not necessarily mean you're the only authority who can do those things.
I see. So that relates to the first statement, correct?
The first statement, which just had typos.
No, but I thought you said there's one statement. So how can you have the first statement?
There's only one statement,
Okay.
Advocate
Okay.
Mpofu. Are we trying
And-
to play with words here, sir? Again,
No,
every minute is wasting taxpayers' money.
All right.
It is.
Yes, no, that's fine, ma'am. We'll try and save the taxpayers' money by make the first important thing you would accept at least that it's important for this committee to understand whether or not there's an affidavit before it, so that if there is, then we go through it. But if there isn't, then the law must take its course.
Well, that is important, but I would have thought for me, just from a commission of inquiry type of investigation, that's a point in limine that should have been resolved last week. The chairperson announced on the 2nd of March, exactly a week from now, that the affidavit that was going to be used today was the affidavit that I sent as corrected on the 28th of March, which was the very same affidavit that was sent on the 25th of March, but corrected for typos and signed by a different commissioner of oath who has a business in Joburg, but lives here in Somerset West.
All right.
And was
No,
with me here.
I think you are missing the point. Maybe let me assist you. There is no affidavit by you, but we'll come to that just now. I'm saying that, do you know that you are, all right, let's start with the first affidavit, as you call it. It's dated the 23rd, and then there's a correction, it's changed to the 25th. You remember that?
Advocate Mpofu, there is one affidavit. It was sent on the 25th, and you know yourself that things can be corrected and annotated on the side where there are corrections. And that affidavit was replaced by one that was sent on the 28th. You didn't object to that affidavit. You had a whole week to say that's not an affidavit. To come now and decide that you're going to spend taxpayers' money arguing about whether the document on the 28th is an affidavit or not is shocking, to say the least. But anyway, no, well, it's the park protector that's paying, it's not me. So maybe I shouldn't be dealing with that.
Yeah, maybe not, ma'am. But
as a taxpayer, it worries me.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Well, as a taxpayer, it also
Chair.
worries me when it looks like there's a
Chair.
crime that is committed here. But do you know, maybe let's do it like, do you know that you may not correct an affidavit after it has been
Chair.
attested? Chairperson?
Sorry, what's that?
What do you mean, what's that? Don't speak like you are in a crawl.
No,
What do you mean,
you
what's
have
that?
not raised your hand,
We're
Honorable
in a
Malema.
meeting here. Don't say what's that.
You
What's
have
that?
not
What do
raised
you
your
mean?
hand, Honorable Malema.
I'm
Honorable
raising my
Malema,
hand. I'm
You
raising
have
my
not
hand.
raised it.
But
You
I'm
have
raising
not
my
raised
hand
your hand.
now. I'm raising it.
No, you don't raise it like that. You know how to raise a
How
hand.
do I raise it?
You know how you got in here. You use the same tools to raise a hand. Honorable
Yeah,
Malema.
but I don't
I'm
know how
asking
to
that
raise
to
a
you.
hand here. I'm trying to get your attention.
Then if you can't
And then you
raise
can't
a
start
hand,
by saying what's that. Instead of
Honorable Malema,
recognizing me properly. Don't say
Honorable
what's that.
Malema,
Why do you say what's that? Don't
Honorable
talk to me
Malema,
like you are talking to a garden boy, when a man.
I am speaking to you now. If you can't raise a hand, you call a point of order, I give you attention. You don't just get into a conversation. It's
I'm
not how
trying to
it's
get your
done.
attention, Chair. I'm trying to get your attention.
I'm now recognizing you.
Please speak to the witness, not to interrupt Advocate Mpofu, because it doesn't come across as being dignified, and it's irritating to say the least. Let her give her a chance, because watching from here, when she just budges and interrupts the way she wants with the advocate, it doesn't look like the required decorum of these proceedings. Please.
Well, thank you, Honorable Malema. And that's not a point of order, but I hear what you're raising, which we attended to earlier before you joined, about the interactions and each waiting for the other, but also speaking through the chair. I attended to that, and I'm going to be watching that space. Thank you. Over to you, Advocate Mpofu.
When you say each waiting for the other, are you suggesting that I interrupted her?
No, I'm not.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Madam, Professor,
Yes, sir.
yes. I was just asking you whether you know or you don't know that an affidavit cannot be changed after it has been attested.
I stand to be corrected, sir. My understanding is that you can correct it, provided it's a proper procedure. That's why the affidavit of the 28th was attested to by a commissioner of oaths.
Yes.
It wasn't just changes randomly on the street.
Well, but the second one where you changed by putting hand changes seems like it was just changed in the street, and it was changed after the public, or rather after the commissioner had signed it. Let me demonstrate that to you, ma'am. Can you put up the first affidavit? That's 31.6.2. Tsepo. Right, just go to paragraph 5. Right. 5, yeah. Okay, you see in paragraph 5 that it says the contents and intended appearance are in response to the letter of the chairperson of the committee, Honorable Chu Arjanchi MP, dated 1st February 2023. You see that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, that version was then signed by the Commissioner of Oaths on the 25th of February, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, after that, you then went to change that date to the 21st, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you know that that is illegal? You cannot do that. Once it has been signed by the Commissioner of Oaths, you can't then change the date on your own in the street, as you call it. Do you know
Can
that
I-
that's,
Can I explain that that's not what I did? Is it
Alright.
okay if I explain, sir?
no, firstly, just answer my question, then you can explain. Do you know
Yes.
that,
Yes, I
it's
do.
not done? It's illegal.
I
Okay,
do.
fine. Then you can explain.
Yes. I did not change the original affidavit by hand. I took a copy of it and I made the changes. You must look at the email that was sent on the 1st of March to everyone. The email explained properly that what we are doing is we're not replacing the affidavit of the 25th with the handwritten. We replaced it with the electronic version. And that electronic version was signed by a Commissioner of Oath. In my wisdom, which seemingly now seems to be turpitude instead of rectitude, I wanted to make it easier for the committee, because it was now short notice, to see what's the difference between the affidavit signed by a Commissioner of Oath on the 28th and the affidavit signed by a Commissioner of Oath on the 25th. So the handwritten version was just for ease of reference, and the email says so. I'm certain that the Secretariat can produce the email that was indicated.
Okay, then maybe let me assist you. If you know that it's illegal to change an affidavit by hand after it has been attested to, then can you go to the second affidavit, Tsepo? 31.6.1. Right. So, okay, at paragraph 5, you did exactly what you say you know is illegal, which is to change the affidavit by hand after it has been attested to, and then you put your initials next to that paragraph, correct?
I have explained that this was to just show the committee where the changes are in the proper affidavit. I never proffered this as the new affidavit. I proffered the affidavit of the 28th as the new affidavit, which is the affidavit that has since been accepted by this committee.
Yeah, wrongly. That's what I'm getting to, but don't worry, we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm simply saying here, just on what is on the screen now, is it correct that you did what you say you know is illegal, namely to change the 1st to the 21st, and then you put your initials next to that?
Well,
Yes,
I didn't change. This was a copy of the affidavit for the purposes of
I'll take it.
the committee.
Yeah, all right. I'll take it. You don't want to answer the question. That's fine. And you did the same thing on page 2, Tsepo, where you again by hand change the affidavit and put your initials next to it illegally, correct?
I will admit that all of the changes that are now in this affidavit and in the one that is supposed to be the basis of the discussions today were changes that I made, which are typographical in nature. If you want to make them illegal, say, so be it. But if I knew, this is where I say points in limine should have been discussed, because you are now accusing me of criminality. Chairperson, I am now a criminally accused person. I asked for legal representation. I was not granted. And when you wrote to me, Chairperson, you said you don't need legal representation because you're not an accused person in this process. You are in this process to assist us in an investigation against Advocate Mkhwebane. So we dealt with this issue 1 week ago. These matters were not raised. If Advocate Mpofu wanted to raise these issues, he shouldn't be ambushing me right now. He should have raised them last week, and I should have gone for legal representation. He was not prepared to proceed with my affidavit for short notice, but he thinks it's okay to ambush me with issues of legality right now without having even just been sent a written notice of it. Forget about 7 days notice. So
Yes. Do you remember me last week saying that we will have to raise issues for this committee regarding these statements which may be referred to the police?
well, I don't remember you saying that, but if you did say so, I'm still saying it's a point in limine that should have been discussed last week.
But nothing was, sorry, ma'am, sorry.
You're speaking over me.
I'm sorry. Nothing was discussed last week.
But
You
you're
did not
speaking over
testify.
me.
Just allow her to continue to
Okay.
conclude, Advocate Mpofu. Please go ahead, Advocate Madonsela.
Right. This meeting today was convened by agreement. On the record, the chairperson, on the record, you said the statement that was going to be discussed is the statement of the 28th, or the corrected version of the 28th. And this was after Advocate Abraham had said that that's the statement that I'm prepared to go with. If
All right.
Advocate Mpofu wanted to put me on trial for how the changes happened between the statements happened, he should have indicated last week, Monday, that he wants me criminally charged for that, in which case it changes the complexity of this event today.
No, ma'am.
I should have then had a lawyer to come and represent me because I'm now being accused of criminality.
No.
He
Okay.
insisted last week that
Let me
he needs
clarify,
me
Chair.
as a witness on those matters.
Okay.
When he
Thank-
was saying why he needed me, he didn't say he needs me to answer for this statement. I remember when you had ruled, Chairperson, that this is the end of the matter.
Thank you, Advocate
I'm-
Madonsela.
Yeah.
I think you have
Yes.
canvassed and ventilated the issues quite firmly. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Advocate Mpofu, I just want to go to a break. So if
Yes.
there's something you want to raise quickly
Yes,
before
yes,
that.
just to round off this
Okay.
statement.
Uh-huh.
Okay, ma'am, I'm not accused you of criminality yet. I'm simply saying that at least I thought we were together. You agreed that to change a statement that has been attested to after the Commissioner of Oaths is illegal. We agreed on that, and you are right. Now, I'm simply demonstrating that you did exactly that which you and I have agreed is illegal. That's all really. And maybe just because there's going to be a break, let me short circuit this. At paragraph 5, paragraph 6, paragraph 7.3, Tsepo, maybe you can just run those so that for the witness to see. Paragraph 8.3 twice, and paragraph 9.6. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places you did that which you have admitted is illegal by changing the statement by hand and putting your signature next to it. at that point. That's the only point I want to make. Then we'll move to the third statement. Are you following?
May I just respond to that, Advocate Mpofu?
Of course.
Again, I've canvassed the issue of what you're doing, even by your standards, may be quite low. If you intended to accuse me of illegality or criminality, you had the time last week to say today will not be about the contents, it will not be about merits, it will be about accusing me of criminality or illegality. You didn't do that. And I disagree with you that I deny that I did anything illegal.
Okay.
All I admit to is I indicated where the changes in the electronic statements are. Last week, just my last word on this, last week when you had an opportunity to indicate why you want me today. On this matter, the only thing that you raised as an issue about this statement was the fact that the stamp of the Commissioner of Oaths of the statement of the 28th was in Joburg, whereas we claimed that this happened in Stellenbosch.
Okay, ma'am.
The evidence leader read the law to indicate that it's okay to have a business stamp for a different place, but if it can be confirmed that the statement has been done where it claims to have been done. So that was all that you raised. This incremental approach is quite shocking.
Okay, ma'am. All right. I'm sorry to shock you, but all I'm saying is we have to establish whether there is indeed an affidavit before this court. If all you were doing was to indicate, for example,
not the court.
No, the committee.
Yes.
Well, if you were to indicate, if you merely wanted to indicate that the first should be the 21st, then why did you put your initials next to that? Because
I wanted the committee to see where the changes were.
For the committee?
Yes, the statement was being sent to the evidence leaders, and it was literally around 10 a.m. when the event was starting. And it was important for whoever, I'm sending the electronic statement. You remember you raised the hullabaloo at that stage about the fact that you've been sent a 9-page statement. It turned out that it was 8 pages and one of the pages was repeated. So the statements were sent simultaneously to make sure that you could see from the handwritten version that this is where the changes are in the signed statement. It was sent as one email. It wasn't sent as 2 separate emails.
That's fine. Okay, well, I'm going to demonstrate, not now. The reason I'm asking you these questions, ma'am, is that you are here. So it's important for you to answer for yourself. Otherwise, if I raise them in argument when you are not here, that would be unfair. Let's just round off that issue by saying that I will demonstrate that what you've just said is completely untruthful. If you are merely indicating the changes, then you wouldn't have signed against them. And some of them, even the Commissioner of Oaths has signed against those changes, which, by the way, is the correct thing to do. But it's only you who has signed them, that is completely illegal. I think let's leave it there. Either you know that or you don't. That's I can't help it. But we'll then move to the next.
Can I respond to that? I deny what you're saying, and I think it's really low.
Thank you, Advocate Madonsela. Honorable Sukas, we are almost to a break, but let me hear you out.
Yes, Chair. Chair, I would like for Advocate Mpofu to please tell the committee what is the relevance of this line of questioning. Advocate Tuli Madonsela came here to answer or to speak to evidence relating to two cases. We've now spent almost half a day on this. Not half a day, but certainly a significant amount of hours. What is the relevance to that? Secondly, Advocate Madonsela is not here for oversight. She is not. And none of what has now been discussed or been questioned has to do with the aim of this inquiry.
Thank you, Honorable Sukas. Honorable Malema.
Advocate Mpofu is well within his right and is correct to ask the questions that he is asking, because we can't have defective papers before us, or to a particular extent even be told lies, and then we say it is not what Advocate Madonsela is here for. Advocate Madonsela's credibility and whatever he has put in the affidavit or the letter, because we are still not even sure if these are still going to be referred to as affidavits, have to be questioned so that at the point of deliberations, we don't get shocked. And that Advocate Mpofu has made that point, that I'm raising these points because during deliberations, I don't want to be told that I was unfair to you. We should all be worried that a committee like ours, even when people are not here as accused, they can come and lie here. Then it's a waste of time. No one must come and lie here. And if there is anything that suggests there is a lie, it must be exposed. If it's a correction, why does it have signatures of two people? Why do you need a signature of Commissioner of Oath to show that, no, I was just making a correction of a typo? Because that is not the document you are going to use. The document you are going to use is the one that I've given you with those typos. This one I'm just correcting for ease of reference. But you use the Commissioner of Oath to even attach a signature. To me, it's clear you were making amendments to the original document, and as they say, it's illegal. But that point will come, and it can only come if it has been exposed through this line of questioning.
Thank you. I will recognize you, Advocate Madonsela. Thank you, Honorable Malema, because I'm going to try and make a summary and make a ruling on this issue. Advocate Mpofu?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Chair, in fairness to the witness, I think the point has been made now repeatedly that she needs to be given an opportunity to respond to this. But the principal point I was making, Chair, is why we offered to assist her, so that these illegalities would not have occurred, because we know that she's not a practicing lawyer. And the only point I want to make before we take the break, Advocate Madonsela, is this. Even on your version that these were just corrections, that is completely false, because on 3 occasions, both you and the Commissioner of Oaths have signed on these so-called changes after the commissioning, which would amount to an illegality on both your parts. And then on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 occasions, you only signed on your own. Just that inconsistency. Either you were going to sign on your own or sign with the Commissioner of Oaths. But
may I assist?
Both of those things cannot be correct. The correct one, as you should know, is the one where you both signed. So where you've just signed on your own is incorrect, is illegal on your part. Where the Commissioner of Oaths has signed on his part after you have already commissioned, then that's illegality on his part or her part. That's really the gist of this. And it's not a small matter. This is Parliament. It is the Parliament that passed the law that defines what an affidavit is. True. So if this Parliament was just playing games when it passed that law, then they will tell us. But I'm sure they were passing that law for a reason, so that people don't come and misrepresent the truth. And so that is the importance of this exercise. And finally, sorry, Chair, finally, the issue is really as to whether there is or there isn't an affidavit before this committee. But we can round that off. I hope you understand those. Do you?
I disagree. Can I explain and assist you this time? Assist
I
you,
don't need
even
your
though I'm not
assistance,
being
ma'am.
paid to assist you.
No, I don't
Can
need
you
your
please-
assistance, nor your snide remarks, ma'am. Please,
I
you're just
do
here
want
to ask
to assist
questions,
you.
not to be sarcastic.
Okay.
I do
If
want
the
to
chair won't
assist
stop
you.
you, okay, I know the chair is not stopping you from all that. You've been insulting
Please
me and
Please
being
don't
sarcastic.
speak over me.
No,
I
no,
do want to assist you. Sir.
just pause, Advocate Madonsela.
I
Can you
do.
conclude, Advocate?
Yes,
You must
thank you.
told man, hey, Chair.
Okay, no, Miss Advocate Madonsela, I'm saying to you, and I'm saying it as kindly as I can master, despite all your insults to me this morning, I'm saying that now you're speaking over me. All right, let me start
Sorry,
again.
sir.
It's fine, apology accepted. I'm saying, ma'am, that I'm making 3 points here, and either you understand them or you don't. One is that your version that these were merely indicative changes is belied by the fact that you signed against it. Secondly, the fact that on some parts only you signed for it, which is wrong, and then other parts you and the Commissioner of Oaths signed against it shows illegality on both your parts. And thirdly, I'm saying it's important for this committee to know, because our directives say so, that witnesses should make an affidavit. Witnesses are free not to make an affidavit, but once they purport to make an affidavit, it has to be an affidavit. Do you understand that or not? Well, I'm not saying you agree with it, but do you understand that?
I don't understand your logic, sir.
Okay, well, that's fine. Then maybe you can go and let's take a tea break. Maybe.
No,
No,
I'm the
before
chair.
then.
I'm the chair. Sorry. Thank you, Advocate Mpofu.
I mean, Chair, no, sorry, sir. I'm not
Thank
taking
you.
over your meeting. I'm
Thank you.
saying
Thank you.
on this
Thank you, Advocate
segment.
Mpofu.
Yes.
Over to you, Advocate Madonsela.
Thank you, sir. What I wanted to assist Advocate Mpofu with are 2 points. There's one document on the table in 3 articulations. It's a 4-page affidavit. It was signed before an attorney who is the director of the law firm where he is on the 25th. On each page of that affidavit, both he and I initialed it, and it was sent to the committee. So now Advocate Mpofu has not only insulted me and criminalized me, he has now criminalized a fellow member of the bar by simply failing to read documents that he's paid to read. That affidavit of the 25th is in the document pack, I hope. And in any event, it was sent to the attorneys that are instructing Advocate Mpofu. The signature of the attorney who assisted me is at the end on page 4, and he's initialized all of the pages. So to fabricate lies here and suggest that those signatures only appeared during the corrections is shocking, to say the least. And again, this could have been corrected if we had had a pre-trial kind of hearing to clarify these things instead of trying here to play games. I've indicated that there are 3 articulations of one document.
Okay,
I have not proffered to this committee the version that Advocate Mpofu is latching on to as the document on the record. The
Thank you.
document that I've offered to the committee was the version that is electronic, where the changes are made, and therefore a new commissioner of oath signed that document, precisely because we realized that if you made changes on the previous document, it would be a problem, legally speaking. Hence, a new commissioner of oath signed the document that I came to this committee today, understanding with the basis of our discussion. But 2 hours later, we are discussing things that should be discussed at a pre-trial conference. And certainly between learned friends, being the evidence leaders and the lawyers before we come to these events.
Thank you, Advocate Madonsela. I want to make a ruling before we go for tea, but I see the hand of Advocate Mayosi. Nobody wants tea today, but I'll have to make that ruling before tea. We've been at it for some time now. Advocate Mayosi.
No, Chair, I'll retract. You could proceed.
Okay.
Chair, please bear with me. I know you want to go to lunch.
I want to make a ruling,
to
actually.
make a break, but can I just make a response just by one point? Advocate Madonsela, yes, ma'am. Okay. What you have just said is completely untrue, and I'll demonstrate it to you, ma'am. You said that where the public protector, sorry.
Can't be untrue.
Where are you go? All right. You said that, you've just said now in your last answer that in the versions that you rendered to the committee, all the pages were signed by you and the Commissioner of Oaths, correct?
May I answer, sir? In the
Yes,
first
you may. That's why I
version of
asked.
this affidavit, the first version of this affidavit, being the one sent on the 25th, was signed by the Commissioner of Oaths. He never ever signed anything else after that.
No, that's not true. Let's go to that.
Sorry,
I just wanted to
Advocate
start
Mpofu.
with something
No,
else when I
no,
come back.
No, thank you.
Okay, let me just summarize
I
then.
want you
and
to
then
pause there now.
Can I summarize? The witness can either confirm or not. Okay. This is the truth, madam. On the first version, you are right. On page 1, you and the commissioner signed. On page 2, at 7.4, you and the commissioner signed. Page 3, 8.3, you and the commissioner signed.
Yes.
But on page 4 of 5, 9.6, the commissioner did not sign. In other words, you are the only person who signed that. That's where it talks about Gogo Dlamini and all that. Do you admit that, or do you want to dispute it so that we can put it up after the break?
I dispute it. The document only has 4 pages.
Good.
There's
Very
no
good.
document with 5 pages.
Okay, that's fine. So at 9.6, your version is that both you and the commissioner signed.
The commissioner was just signing each page, the Commissioner of Oaths. He wasn't signing changes, except the one where he had made a mistake on the date.
No, that's also not true. He signed 4 times, but I'm saying
He signed so 4 times, of course, because he initialized each page.
Yes. Okay, ma'am. Look,
each page.
Look, okay, let me just tell you, yeah, you've just made it worse. I think that the sum total, which I will argue at the end, is that none of your versions hold water or consistently appear through the statement. and none of these statements therefore qualify to be called an affidavit. And to the extent that either you or the Commissioner of Oaths breached the act, then those matters. Are you a member of the Legal Practice Council?
Advocate Mpofu,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to stop you now.
that's irrelevant.
I thought you were saying you were
honestly
summarizing.
think, firstly, number one. you
Advocate
are right.
Madonsela,
Under-
Advocate
Yes.
Madonsela,
No, wait.
Advocate Madonsela, please pause. I want you to pause as well. We're now going to take a tea for 15 minutes, back after 15 minutes, and I will make a ruling. Thank you, so that we proceed.
But Chair, I'm still talking.